Are your hips always feeling tight? And do you always feel that even if you stretch them, they still feel tight? We're gonna go over a test to see if your hips are actually tight. And if they are tight, what muscle is actually tight? Because there's several muscles in the hip. So here we got Gabe, and we're gonna go over the self hip flexor test. So what you're gonna use is any kind of table or bed, anything that's elevated. And we're gonna start off in the test by laying down on your back, right off the edge of the table and bringing both knees to your chest. From there, the reason we keep both knees to your chest is because you're gonna lock out your lumbar spine. So you wanna keep that nice and locked. From there, you're gonna drop one leg. So we're gonna assess the first leg. So when he drops one leg, I just want him to just casually let it go and see where it stands. And I want you to take a look at how it is in relation to the table and how much knee bend, because we're gonna compare it to the other side. Then he brings that knee back to his chest and he does the same thing on the other side. So we compare both sides because sometimes there's some asymmetry and we want to see if it's kind of even with what we're seeing on both sides. But now we'll bring back both knees and now we're going to break down the test. So now he's going to bring down his leg. And like I said, he keeps his knee to his chest because if he doesn't, it goes down. If he does, it goes up. So that's the first part. Make sure that knee's to your chest because we're locking out the lumbar spine. Next, we're gonna first test out the iliopsoas muscle, which is a muscle right in front of the hip. And the way to find out if that's tight is we're gonna see how the relation of his femur to the table or the bed or whatever you're using. So if this is higher than the bed or the table, which his is, that means his iliopsoas is tight. So that's the first muscle. The next muscle is the rectus femoris. So this muscle is gonna be more in relation to the angle of your knee. So because, as you can see, this angle is more than 90 degrees, 90 degrees is here. Because he's past 90 degrees, he then now has a tight rectus femoris muscle. If his knee was bent here, then he wouldn't have a tight rectus femoris, he would just have a tight iliopsoas muscle. And back to the iliopsoas muscle, if he didn't have an iliopsoas muscle that was tight, his leg would be further down. It would be here. So it would be in a straight line with the table. But because his leg goes up, it's more of a tight iliopsoas muscle. So far we have iliopsoas tightness if this leg is higher than this table. So for him right now, he has tightness in both the iliopsoas and the rectus femoris. The third muscle is the TFL muscle. So the TFL muscle is tested based on the angle of your leg. So he's gonna bring back that knee back to his chest and I'm just gonna let it go. And as you can see, his leg kind of goes out to the side here. That means his TFL is tight. We want the leg to be relatively neutral here. So if it goes out to the side, that's more TFL tightness. So I'm gonna show you guys a positive for all three tests. So his leg's gonna come down, he's gonna be elevated above the table, his leg is gonna be bent here, and his leg is gonna be out to the side. So this is past 90 degrees, this is higher than the table, and his leg's out to the side. So he has tightness in all three muscles, the TFL, iliopsoas, and rectus femoris. So now, how about if he just has tightness in the iliopsoas and the rectus femoris? So his leg is just lined up here, but this is still elevated, and this is still past 90 degrees. Let's say he only has tightness in the iliopsoas, so his knee is bent, it's at 90 degrees, but this is still elevated. So let's just say now he just has tightness in the rectus femoris, not the iliopsoas. So his leg's gonna be down here, but his leg's gonna be kicked out there. I know it's kind of confusing, but there's three muscles, the iliopsoas, rectus femoris, and the TFL. And by doing this test, you can find out what muscle is tight. And if you find out if that muscle is tight, then you gotta stretch out that muscle. We'll go over how to stretch those in part 2 of our video, but we're all the basketball doctors. Let's ball for life. Hit the like, subscribe button if you enjoyed our content. And stay tuned for part 2.